The reason why you clicked on this video is because you saw the thumbnail. The thumbnail says the Cleveland Browns are drafting a receiver at 54. And I'm predicting and I'm prognosticating that the Cleveland Browns should take a receiver at 54. There's a lot of different reasons why they should take a receiver at 54. Before we get into my specifics, let's take a look at what we talked about today on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. This was a clip. Me, Jay Crawford, and Earl the Pearl arguing and talking about what we're doing at 54. Earl the Pearl is under the assumption. He believes that Elijah Moore is a guy that's going to be a guy that's going to have a great year. Go out and check out that clip in the entire episode right there on YouTube. UCSS. This is Earl the Pearl talking with me and Jay about who they should draft, and I'm going to tell you why they should draft a receiver at 54. Take a look at this clip.
You heard what Kevin Stefanski said. He said we're going to be aggressive and in a big way. 640 yards, and they play 100 games. They play 86 games like the NBA, and he got 640 yards. No disrespect, so what my thing is, I'm looking at these receivers, and it's one of the best receiver classes of all time. You are going to get somebody to fall to you in the second round, and let's talk about these picks that's minimal.
What about Jerry Rice's kid?
I'll take him too.
His stock is risen.
I like him, but you said they got a third, a fifth, they got a couple of fives, right?
Yeah, I could see them moving a couple fives or a 5 and a 6.
Hey, they could. You know what? I'm hyperbole. I'm the Duke of New York. They can have every one of them 5th and 6th round picks, all of them. You want them? Take them.
And so, as you can see right there, I'm a firm believer that you have to take a receiver at pick number 54. When you look at what Elijah Moore has done, he was serviceable. I think everybody thinks that Elijah Moore, had a year that was something that other receivers at that position could replicate. You take a look at what Elijah Moore was able to bring to the table. We were told that he was going to have a playbook where he was going to run wildcat and reverses and all that good kind of stuff, and he was going to be the elite Swiss Army knife that was going to bring us all types of receptions and touchdowns, and he had a serviceable year at 640 yards. I think Elijah Moore, in an opportune position, should probably be a guy who you look to get when he was getting that many targets. He was supposed to get above 800, 900 yards. He had 640. A lot of those yards in that production came when Joe Flacco was quarterback. So for me, when I look at Elijah Moore, I look at a guy who does not have the catch radius, who does not have the run after catch that I thought he would have, being a receiver of his stature. I thought he was a little more quicker. I thought he was a little more shiftier than what I saw. I saw a receiver that was not explosive, and he's good for a fourth receiver, maybe a third receiver. But one of the things that I want to look at is guys like Puka Nacua. You take a look at what Puka Nacua was able to do for the Rams, and they had Cooper Kupp. But those are the type of the receivers that you want to get 12, 13, 1,400 yards. Those guys are available in the draft. Those guys are available. You just have to identify and get them. And I think that the Cleveland Browns would be doing themselves a disservice by not getting some of these receivers, the Keon Colemans of the world. He didn't run a blazing 40 time, but that's the type of receiver, a playmaker, a guy that's physical, going to go up and catch contested footballs. That's the kind of receiver I want. I want one of those guys. When you take a look at a Franklin out of Oregon, he has breakaway speed. I'm talking about he catch the ball, boom, he's out of here. I want that. I want a Malachi Corley. I want a guy like that who is a little bit of a Deebo Samuel guy, right? What about a Lad McConkey? What about these types of guy? You're going to have an Xavier Legette. I've been preaching on these podcasts and these airways for a long period of time. The Cleveland Browns have an opportunity to do something that they haven't done in a long time. That is to put a stamp on a guy that's not in the third round. We've seen what the third round gets you. We've seen with the Schwartz of the world, the David Bells of the world. That's a nice thought process. I want to see for once the Cleveland Browns jump up into that next echelon and get a receiver that can make some waves about themselves. I'll tell you what, you can get somebody that can turn into a multiple-time playmaker for you this season. You may not need him to be an every down guy, but all I need is about 5 or 6 plays a year from this guy. All I need is about 5 or 6 plays at different times. You see what Zay Flowers brought to the table. I'm not saying you're going to get that type of progression because he's their best receiver, but here's the thing. When you got Amari Cooper, when you got Jerry Jeudy, when you do got a guy like Elijah Moore who's a serviceable 3rd or 4th receiver, what you're going to be able to do is get a rookie on one-on-one coverage and a guy that can get single coverage that may be on a safety, on a linebacker, or a 3rd or 4th corner that can make you a play when you need a play. This is the opportunity. We've talked about the aggression. We talked about what Deshaun Watson wants to bring to the table and how he wants to play. We talked about that all off season. Why not give you Deshaun Watson another tool, another weapon, another guy that's going to get a chance to get a bite at the apple at the top tier? We know what the bottom tier guys are, the 3rd, 4th rounders. We know what we've been able to do with that. Let's get it. Let's package some stuff up. We got 2 5s. You don't need all these draft picks in this draft. You got 2 5s, you got a couple of 6s. Get rid of them picks and get on up and get you one of these receivers. I've been talking about it and we've been preaching it. The number one opportunity for the Cleveland Browns to take that next step is at receiver, not defensive tackle. I've been reading the drafts. Come on now. I've been reading the drafts about the D tackles. You brought all of them back. You brought Harris back. Listen, you already got Tomlinson. We ain't even seen Siaki Ika yet. You drafted him in the 3rd, 4th round. So you're gonna get another depth tackle. Come on now. That you only lost Jordan Elliott. I'm cool on what we got up front. You brought back Za'Darius Smith. You got Okoronkwo back over there. You got Alex Wright. You got everybody. Listen? Stop playing the games. Get you a receiver, get another option. And if Amari Cooper is older, he does not have the production, or if Elijah Moore wants to walk in free agency, you still have Jerry Jeudy under contract. You still can see what you could do with Cedric Tillman, and you still got a guy that you drafted this year that could be potentially another number 2 or possibly number 1 receiver, given where you take him. So I think the no-brainer is taking a receiver at 54. Less than